Hi guys, today we have a box, quite a big box as well. So what is it? What have I purchased?
Well, apologies for filming the screen. I will try and stick in some proper screenshots of this. This is the, according to the website, this is the listing on eBay. This is the latest A8. I don't think it is an A8. High precision MK8 Persia i3 3D printer DIY kit gift PLA 3D filament blah blah blah. This is from Superstar cartridge. I actually paid the slightly higher price of £99 for it. I can see they currently got it with a discount of £5. So, but I thought £100 for a 3D printer kit, not bad. It's obviously a Persia i3 copy. I'm not quite sure if it's the A8 relates to. It's probably a copy of that as well. But why not? Let's get it out of the box, get it built, and see what it looks like.
Okay, so it came in this big box. It's got the horrible polystyrene that gets bits everywhere because it's so staticky. I don't know, I hate this kind of packaging, but there we are. So, sorry, I'm going to block your view slightly for a minute. So we'll take that top piece off and we'll put that out of the way. Let's get this bent down a bit if I can. I've had to try and clear off some space on the desk to get this in. So hopefully get that more in frame if I can. So this is the top layer. So we have got the power supply here. So just take a quick look at that. So this is our power supply. What have we got? Inputs, yep. So multiple inputs, 12 volts and 20 amps out. It feels quite light, to be honest with you. It's obviously not going to be a super high quality power supply. But that's fine. They don't label any of these connectors very well. I think that's pretty much, or say label. Yeah, I've just got numbers on them. Oh, here we are. So we've actually got common, volt, and volt adjust. Yeah. Oh, live and neutral in earth. So that's, yeah, it's not too bad. It's not super clear though. But you can follow that in the instructions. So that's our power supply unit. We've got this plastic piece. Oh, that's the spoil. So spoil for the put your filament on. Where am I going to put all this? We have got. That's nice. It's got a proper UK plug on it. Yes, very nice. Name it power plug. I think most of us can work out that is actually a power plug. And the connectors on there. We've got a fan there. We've got an empty bag. I think what was supposed to happen was all these little Allen key bits, and that was supposed to be in that bag, but they've obviously come out. So they do supply you with the Allen keys and GP screwdriver. Right, that's all in that compartment. We've got some reddish, orange and yellow PLA filaments. I think that's the 1.75, is it? Not quite sure. I know I ordered 1.75 filament. Right, so this is labelled CTC, ctcprinter.com. That's interesting. So it's got some kind of proper, I think that's all kind of instructions, that sort of thing. But it looks more like a slightly more proper brand to what the listing is on the eBay listing. So we've got our stepper motors. There's one there. There, so these are ready assembled. I have read and seen on some sort of videos on these that sometimes worth just sort of checking screws and that sort of thing, especially on the extruder itself. So this is the extruder. So we can get this to focus. So we got the fan there. So this is all pre-assembled, but as I understand, some people have had some issues and they've actually just taken the fan assembly off and adjusted a few bits where they've sort of bolts and that have come loose. So might do that. Yeah, so that's the extruder and fan, etc. Nearly lost that one. This looks like, so that's our display screen. Let's have a look at that. Remove seal after washing. Yep, so that's the speaker seal. Brightness, contrast adjust. What's that one? Little reset switch, I'm guessing. Excuse me. So you got a standard size SD card slot in there, rotary encoder there. That's Yeah, it feels quite nice. It's got the indents in it. That's not too bad. It's pushable. Yeah, that's pushable as well. And we've got here fan support column, motherboard support column, Y shaft motor fixing plate, Z top mount. Must all be the same bits. Yep. So I think this is all for the extruder. Screw locking ring, flexible coupling. Okay. Most of it is reasonably well labelled, which is good. So if we take this bit out, getting more polystyrene everywhere. So this is part of the main frame. Now this apparently is wood, with this kind of I don't know if it's just painted or it's got a laminate of polycarbonate over it. As far as I understand, so this actually says here the CTC Y2419 as being the name they've given it there. Yeah, apparently it's a case of not screwing screws in too tightly to this at all. So we'll put that one aside. Excuse me. So left and right side frame. A lot of this I think is just kind of clips together and screws in. We have got tripod for the thing. That's a bit shitty, isn't it? Look at that. That's certainly been damaged there, and maybe the routing process or something. It's not great, but I'm sure we can live with that. And another one for the other side. That one's certainly in a better condition than the one we got here. This is an autofocus, isn't it? Yeah. Right, USB cable, high quality apparently. Yes, doesn't look it. We have got. This would be our main controller board. Yeah, controller board. Just get that off. Where's a knife when you need one, hey? Right. So get that one out, have a look. Come on, focus. Thank you. So this is the main controller board. I've got it upside down. So what have we got? Powering is an 80 mega. It's Atmel GA2560 16AU. These are our output driver boards. These are quite nicely mounted in sockets, so should you get one burn up on you, then you can obviously just replace it. Got various connectors going out here. Again, the fans are sort of labelled, but the rest of it's not. And really, this focusing is terrible. Come on. Alright, I do apologise about the focus issues there. Main power connector coming in here. Looks like we got. Looks like a couple fuses, I suspect, there that are just socketed as well. So they're interesting. At least you can replace those. And various other connectors there. So that doesn't look too bad overall. I'm reasonably happy with that. The solder quality's not too bad at all. I think that should be okay. They got some more labels on the back there. Hotbed heater, heater 1. And yeah, it's just these ones. They're sort of labelled more on the back than they are on the front. Right, so that's the control board. We have then got this piece is partly assembled, which is just going to be Q assembly. They've labelled it as. Not quite sure if that's the Z-axis or X or Y. I'm not too sure about that one, but that's more or less all pre-assembled for you, so that's good. That sort of saves your assembly time. So that one, we've then got borosilicate glass. Don't like that though. Has that been damaged? That's not supposed to be all like that, is it? I'm sure. I don't know. It's yeah, that's feels broken to me. I'll have to investigate that then. Let's have a look. Yeah, it's cracked, isn't it? The whole thing is. That is really not good. I'm going to have to get a replacement part from them before we can actually use this now. Certainly should have checked that earlier. It didn't actually arrive until earlier this week, but yeah, that is completely broken, that whole plate. So that is certainly a thumbs down so far. This is going to probably make a right mess now, isn't it? Yeah, look at that, that whole plate is completely smashed. Yeah, that is really not good. Yeah, you certainly wouldn't be able to print on that. There certainly won't be level enough. Right, I'll put that aside. I'm going to have to message the seller to get that one replaced. And then this will be the main base parts of it. Yep, that's all pretty much pre-assembled. Main heated bed there. Like I say, we need that bit of glass for it. There's a load of cable ties here. Oop, more wires. Get that out of the way. So we've got various cables here that they've supplied for connecting it up. Some cable wrap there just to neaten things up as well. So we've got various screws here, some of those little clips, dovetail clamps, M3 washers and nuts, some more screws there, and there, and some cable ties. Right, let's take this bit out. Okay, so we've got in here a few loose machine screws there, so just put that aside. Got a little kind of file type device there. Smooth rods and the threaded rods, hopefully they are machined well enough. I know some people have said they do kind of wobble a bit, they're not perfectly straight, and there's a little wing nut there that seems to be floating around. I think that's just a chip and nothing else. Come out, I don't think so. Right, I'm going to get all this packed away and just going to message that seller as well, and then we will get down to trying to get the main thing built. Right, I have actually messaged the seller. I've not got a reply yet, but obviously it takes a little while. But I'm sure we'll have a reply once this video goes up anyway, to ask him for a replacement glass. I've also ordered another glass plate off eBay as well, just to see which one comes quicker really. The other glass plate I ordered was £10. I think it was just under £10, but you could get them a bit cheaper, but it was they were offering pretty quick delivery. Should have it sort of the early part of next week, which obviously will depend on when the video goes out. But yeah, so I printed off the instructions. These ones are all in a PDF form. I did them on both sides, but didn't get the right set, so they're upside down on that side. But that's fine. Yeah, so some of these 3D printers, I understand, come with a link to the YouTube video to watch, so you can sort of build it along. I think I prefer having some instructions, depending how good they're actually laid out. And I've also printed out the material lists as well. Where are we? Let's have a look. Yeah, material lists as well, just to help out with locating different parts. So we'll put that one to the side and see where we get on with this. So that's that one. So yeah, it's not very detailed, I must admit. So first part is obviously the frame. So that states we need left and right hand side frame and the main bit in the middle. Frame parts are as above. You use M3 washer and nuts and M3 16mm screws to assemble each board for assembling a main framework. Yes, very bad Chinglish in a way. The installation direction must be comply with the following figures. The connection of each board and assemblies are shown in figures as below. Yeah, so not great instructions, but I'm pretty sure that shouldn't be too difficult to follow along. So let's get started. So this will be our main part of the frame there, and we've got the side bits somewhere. Let's get these out of their bubble. And they've gone to a good effort to bubble wrap everything. It's just a real shame that that glass panel for the bed was damaged. I should really go and get my knife, shouldn't I? Tool abuse at its finest. Now let's see. But with a bit of luck, the seller will get me a replacement out, and then because I've ordered that other one, at least I'll have a spare one should I get any issues with it cracking on the heat or anything like that. Alright, so that's one out. Again, this is not very good quality construction here. The paint's sort of been chipped away there. I guess, I don't know, are these maybe classed as seconds? Is that why they're so cheap? I don't know. Is that just generally the kind of price you can get one of these 3D printers at? I mean, things like that is not a big deal. I've got some black paint. I can just touch that up at the end. So long as it works and does what it's supposed to do, that's really all that matters. So let's see if we can get this one out. Right, so I get that one out. I should probably speed up bits of this video anyway when it goes out, so we'll see how long it is. So there's our two bits. So we know that one is the right hand side, isn't it? I think it's the one with the right hand side doesn't have the... Yeah, right hand side has got the grill for the fan, and so we want the left hand side one needs to go into there, so that would be from the back, I believe. Is the correct way, is it? Or is it go? Oh, yeah, so it's got to go in there. Is that right? Yeah, that's right, isn't it? So that goes in that side, this one goes in this side. And then we've got... Right, so that's already got one of the nuts already in there. Alright, let's have a look. If I put that in there, and then yeah, that's obviously where the other one came from, the one we found loose earlier. So let's take that one out. So that then clips in there with a bit of luck. Yeah, that's quite a tight fit, that side. Very tight fit. Right, let's, I think that's why they give you that little file, just to adjust things a little bit. So we'll get this one held in anyway, so we obviously know now that we need one of these. So let's have a see how that goes in. So we pop that through there, and let's get the nut in there somehow. This I can see being a fiddly process. Alright, what size Allen keys do I need for that? Have a look. Right, I'm just going to do that up loosely for me, so I just want to double check that that's the right part to be using for that. So that does say M3 washer, nuts, and M3 16 mil screws. So M3 washer and nuts and 16 mil. So actually, why has it got them? Why was that odd one put in that side? I'm not too sure. Does that mean, well, it would state, wouldn't it, if that had to be in the other side? So that's what I was just worried about. Alright, I'll change that one over in a minute. So get all these out. I mean, obviously you can buy a 3D printer fully assembled if you want to. I think it's a bit more fun to put your own together, especially if you're into this sort of thing. You know. So that's what we need, is one of these, one washer, and one nut behind. So let's see, which one can we do? We've got one down here, I think, right at the bottom. There. Certainly are a little bit on the fiddly side to get these nuts in, because they don't really they're sort of semi-captive, if you know what I mean. So they you can sort of get them in there and do them up, but not as easily as you might like. Right, that's the wrong side. There's the other one. There we go. Certainly, yeah, they don't make this a very simple process, so that's got to be, get that in right. I think the key with these is not to over tighten them too much, as apparently you can crack the wood quite easily. I'm not quite sure. I think that feels about right. It's obviously up to you how tight you want to do them. So let's get the one in at the top. Let's take that label off. Try and get that in there. These are certainly, kits like this are for people with patience. I do have some patience, although it does wear thin sometimes. Nowadays, I'm sure as you get older, you tend to get more frustrated with little fiddly things like this. Okay, I think that's fine for that one. So this one we want to take back out again. So why it was already loose in the other side, I don't know, but clearly it's not meant to be. I can't see why they'd have a reason to have that one unless they need something with a flat head. So it was in that side, so I don't know if I should put it in that side or not yet. It's a bit of a tricky one. As it was just sort of sitting there, is there a reason? Because it's not a listed part. I'm not sure. What I don't want to do is have to build the whole thing up and then find I've actually got to take something out to make it fit. Yeah, so this is where you can tell that the thing's not been machined perfectly. That one doesn't sit in its little captive area. So where's that little file that we had earlier? So adjust that a little bit. So what I'm doing here is just trying to enlarge this slot here, because this is what they use as the method of holding the nuts in. Yeah, that's done a good job, that's fine. Okay. Obviously you don't want to enlarge it too much, otherwise it's not going to grip the nut. So you can kind of see the principle on how that works there. That's okay, I think. Right, let's head over to this side. So this is the one where I think we needed to file out some of these Put it on the surface flat. And we'll see how we get on. Wiggle it in. That's fine. That's obviously a tighter fit, but that's gone in no problem at all. So let's do the top one. I'm just thinking about that middle one still. I'm not too sure what I want to do about that. Okay, so we'll miss out the middle one for the minute while I decide the best course of action. Right. You certainly want small fingers for this job. If you've got kids, maybe give it to them. Okay, let's see. Sorry, a lot of this is probably going to end up being off camera. I've tried to get it positioned in a way that hopefully you can generally see most of what I'm doing. Okay, that'll do. You can hear it kind of crack slightly as you tighten it up, so obviously you don't want to over tighten, otherwise you'll split it and then you've got no end of troubles in trying to repair the damage. But at the same time you need it tightened enough that it's going to be stable enough for the printing process. Right, now where's that odd one we had gone? This is where you start losing everything very quickly. Right, there's that odd one. Let's think. Should we go with that one or not? I think I might. Just because I'm really not sure. Don't know if they've done that specifically for a reason. Now the question is, should I put a washer on or not? So obviously if they've done it to minimise the height, I don't want to add too much extra height to it. I'll put a washer on. We'll just stick that one in there. Can't think why else it would be sort of sat there really, and it's not, like I say, it's not one of the parts that is sort of listed as being with the kit that I've noticed anyway. Turn that down quickly. Right, that's in. Okay. Yeah, see, looking at the part list, we've got 5 M3 30mm, which we've got here. Got our washers and nuts, which we've already got out. We've got 38 of those. 15 smaller ones. Where are they? I've not seen those ones. Oh, here we are. So the 15 16mm length ones. No, sorry, 8mm length ones. But yeah, there's no information about that odd one on there at all, so I think I'll stick it in like I've done there, and hopefully it was put in there for a reason. It'd just be nice if they sort of explained what was going on and why it was needed. Right, so that's that part done. Left side, right side. Yep. Next, assemble the fan. M330s, washers, nut. Okay, so they want the nuts on the back like that, so it's a C. So little fan. So that's showing the. Interesting, they've got. Is that a 2-wire fan? Oh, it's still 2-wire, yeah, so it's showing it that way. What's the airflow direction? Does it tell you? Should be forward anyway. So we put that on there. And I think these are the ones we want as well. Okay, don't seem long enough. Do these hold in the back? Yes, I think they will. Doing that not very well. Let me have a look. It's not going to hold it, is it? What I'm having trouble with here, I'm imagining. Come on, focus. That these nuts are supposed to sit within the hole there, but the hole's not been cut out right for the actual nut. So maybe if I put the nut on, then I can sort of screw it in and get it to pull itself tight. That might work. I think I've already damaged that one slightly. Let's grip that. Yeah, that seems to have worked. It's a bit of a pain if I got to go round and do that to the whole thing, just to get it lined up, because they don't poke through quite enough to allow you to actually attach that first. So yeah, I'm going to have to do the same process to get the nut pulled in on each corner of the fan. Having started that, I'm actually not convinced now, because this shows the fan from the back side. It's got the label on the outside, so that would mean that we would want that doesn't reach all the way through. What's it saying? Is it one of the 30mm ones? Did it say that we're using the wrong ones? With M5X30, yeah. Right, that would explain what's going on then. Right, silly me. Okay, ignore that. We'll push that one out. So we actually want these ones for the fan. They do seem excessively long though, to be honest with you. But that's what it says. So M5 accessories, fan, M5 30mm washer, nut. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, so that's obviously going to be blowing forward, which I think will be that direction. So yeah, I mean that's certainly going to go in, but it's quite an excess sticking out the rear of it. Not great. And we're losing one already. Okay, let's see. So that's that one, isn't it? I've got the socket set somewhere. I should go and get that in a minute, shouldn't I? Make life a little bit easier. Right, that's fine. Now we'll get the other ones in. wrong one again. Okay. Apologies for the lighting situation. I still haven't fixed the other floodlight. I've been working on a new idea, which I'll hopefully be doing during this week to improve on the lighting, and there will be a video on that once I've got the bits for it. So that one in there. I wonder if the extra 30mm one of these is just a spare, or there's just one needed somewhere. But it's not ideal with the amount they stick out the back. It just looks a bit ugly because they're not just got some slightly shorter ones. But I could always just Dremel them flush anyway at a later date. Right, so that's our fan assembly fitted in there. As you can see here, the excess length that I'm on about there. Alright, so that's done. Assembling a power supply, one power supply, M3 8mm, which is the smaller ones, isn't it? Very small ones. M3 8mm, the power switch as well. Now I know there's a bit of controversy over this one. Which direction should you actually install the power supply? And the reason on that, thinking behind that, is that the wires apparently are just a tad short. So if you install it the way I think they recommend it being done, which is to basically have it up in that position, then you can really struggle sometimes to get the cables to actually reach, as opposed to having it in that orientation there. So we'll just have a look and see if they state exactly how they want it orientated. So here, yeah, they want it orientated that way. Let's try and get this too muddled up. So yeah, they want the power supply orientated upwards on the outside. Right, I think we'll go with that and see how it goes. Should be okay. So with these ones we need smaller 8mm nuts and bolts. So this has got to go in from this side. I'm just going to try and line up the holes with this lot. So where are we lining up to? That's the question. That doesn't seem to line up with anything. Got one hole there, one hole there. It's supposed to be a third hole, I thought, but that one doesn't match up with anything. No, that's not right, is it? Yeah, you can hopefully see my issue here. So it's showing you here that you've got the inside of that panel. There should be various holes around, but they're not. They don't actually seem to be in there at all. So have we got to go and drill our own holes then? Might be another reason it's cheap. Now, I'm not quite sure if I'm going mad here, because yeah, that definitely doesn't line up. But the one other thing I don't have is an actual power switch. So they state that you should have a power switch in the kit, but I don't. Which I'm guessing would go there. So we haven't got a power switch, which we should have, and we haven't got the holes drilled for the power supply unit. So this is really not a good start at all, is it? Right, so I think I'm going to have to figure out a way of lining this up as best as possible to try and get some holes in it. I mean, I can get one fitting in there, but I can't really have that held in with just one fitting. That's not really acceptable. Right, I will be back once I've decided what to do about the issue of the holes here and everything else. Okay, sometime later, what I've done is I've managed to get one in there. I had to add an extra washer to it. That wasn't, I was trying to get one of these little ones in, they tell you to get in, but I couldn't get it in. But I've got a bunch of M3 longer posi drive ones, so I've basically cut them down to fit in. You want to be careful with these as well, because they're going too far. The only thing that protects it from touching the circuit board is just a very thin plastic sheet in there. So yeah, cut that to size, so that's in there, and I've managed to get one in here. I drilled a hole there and attach that through to there. I'm thinking maybe I could use these holes here as well, but that depends on how much access I've got once the rest is built, so we'll certainly see about that. But for now it's sort of on there, just not great. I'll tell you what though, I could use that top hole there, couldn't I? I didn't think of that. Yeah, that top hole there would be ideal. Let me just pop a drill bit through there. Will that one fit? And I can make use of that as well. It might be a bit awkward to get the nut on it. I think when they say some assembly required, you certainly don't expect to be having to drill your own holes and come up with a solution for mounting it. How are these going to fit through? Enough, and I'm going to have to cut down another nut. Yeah, that's too small again. So they're all pretty much useless, those ones. So we're going to want, what have I just lost? Oh, it's going to make a mess everywhere this is. So we're going to want this one to pop through there. To be fair, I don't really mind if that is an extended length, that one, because that would make it slightly easier to actually get the washer on it. I'm still not quite sure what I'm going to do about the power switch. I think I've got some spare power switches somewhere, so I can make one, but I'm going to have to cut a hole for the thing to go through. So yeah, that's another very bad thing that they've missed out that. So I'm kind of wondering if these are seconds where they kind of ended up missing pieces, or are they taking pieces out because someone else has got a piece missing, and then setting the thing on with all these bits missing. It doesn't seem a very satisfactory way of doing it to me. But having said that, they do have reasonably good reviews, so you know, people have sort of said that yeah, the printer's okay, you know, maybe a few bits of modification here and there sort of thing. So I'm kind of surprised at the fact that obviously we had the broken glass, now we've got missing power switch, we haven't got the right holes drilled for the power supply. Mind you, looking at that frame has also got the yeah, that's different from how the listing came out, because the listing showed the display sort of sticking on top of it rather than on the through the centre, but that's fine. I don't mind how that's sort of held. Just yeah, it's not, you kind of don't quite get what you ordered, but for £99.99, I mean, it's, as you see now, it's like £94.99. I mean, it's so cheap. I can forgive them for some of these. Right, that's fine. That's got a good secure connection now. I've got one down there, one up there. None of those are hitting any of the circuitry, so that's all safe. And I've got that little one at the back there, which I don't necessarily need. I'll leave it in for now, though. Right. Well, that was a right pain in the neck. Sort all that out. So, supply cables in the following figures. Mains cables coming in, going down to switch. I don't know. It's not really going to be quite like that, is it? So, or they maybe not. I'm just wondering. This one doesn't seem like there is no extra cabling supplied for. That's all the control cabling and the LCD cable. So there's no extra cabling supplied to enable you to connect a switch, because you have to feed through the switch and back out. So it seems to me like they're pretty much just, you plug it in and it kind of just works. So yeah, it's not ideal. So how do we really want to go with this? I don't know. Let's go through and back up again, I suppose. Up through there. And then we can connect those up. So, have a look. I'm not going to use their supplied crappy screwdriver. So we've got line, neutral and earth. Let's just hope that this is wired up right. So I'll probably might just check that before I actually power it up. So plug that one in. Line. Neutral. Could actually use a poly drive screwdriver. Okay, neutral. Again, you have to sort of look at the safety aspects of this as well. I mean, this would not be very suitable around young children or anything, because apart from just that little plastic bit there just to latch up, you can still easily poke your fingers in there or stuff like that. So yeah, the safety of it is certainly not of a great design at all. And yeah, it's just gonna sort of sit down there like that for now, I suppose. There's no fan for the power supply either, which is a shame. But yeah, since line, neutral, earth is connected, so assembling the motherboard. Insert 4 pieces, support columns into the A3 board on the left side of the framework. 4 pieces and 8 screws. Hey what? Don't know. Right, that's fine. So that needs to sit through. Like that. So they're looking at having the board positions with the, where's the board? So they want that positioned down somewhere like that. Is that where these machine screws I just put in are going to get in the way now, or not? It's close, depends quite where it needs to be positioned. I think it's more or less like that. Say that. Is this another one where things don't line up? More than likely, more than likely. There's nothing over there, so I can't line up with anything there. Can't line up with that. Can't line up there. Yeah, I can line up like that. That's fine then, I'm guessing that's how it goes. In which case the fan's not in an ideal position for cooling it either, is it really? Yeah, can't line up there, so have a look. Our supports are in here. So which holes did we say we was going to go for? Was yeah. So they don't fit level either. Right, put our support in. screw that down if easily possible. Well, that's really crap as well. They're not even anything like long enough to put on there. Do we need that spacer on or not? I'm not too sure if I want that spacer, because obviously can't use the long ones, so I could use the short ones we've already got there. Like that, would that be... Yeah, that's off it enough, isn't it? I don't see why you'd need to put in the extra long spacers either. That doesn't seem... Yeah, it's a bit pointless, that. Well, we're certainly getting there, kind of. So what we'll do is we'll use these smaller ones that we're supposed to use for the power supply but couldn't get in there, and we can use them for getting these on. Pretty much just hand tighten those, they should be okay. Right, so we've got one over there. There's that one there. Yeah, this hasn't really been thought out very well at all, has it? It's literally as if they've just thrown a load of random parts in it and sort of say, there you go, figure out a way of actually putting it together. I mean, fair enough, I suppose, but it's not for a kit that you buy that should be ready to go. You know, should have everything you need in it, all the holes drilled in the right places. It's really not anything like that at all. This is very very vague. I forgot which hole it was now. Keep lining that back up. So there's that one there. Don't overdo those because they seem to, and there are only nylon threads in there, like I've just done. And then we just want one somewhere over here as well. It's going to be there-ish, isn't it? There, isn't it? That's the bottom one there. So certainly if you do buy one of these kits, your mileage may vary, but I would certainly only get one if you're willing to do a bit of modification to it, as we're having to do here now. Wait, I've lost the other thing there. Oh, difficulties with putting stuff together. Bits seem to just fly away. There we are, right in front of my eyes. Okay, let's get that one on. Right, they're facing downwards. That should now get it up, clip in there. Perfect. Right, that's fine. We can main structure into companion with ports, I guess. Display pictures get power supply in. Alright. Next bit is connect all assemblies before installation. Display screen Q as in figures. Well, this is where it certainly starts getting very vague. Not much. What do they want us to do next? that tells you where everything goes, but there's no point knowing that until we've actually got everything connected so we can put the wires in. So that's of no use. So is this telling us these are the bits we need next? Find out board on A2 and the power supply on A3. One end of cable connection is shown figure as below. End is connected to port 1 of board. So helpful. Installation P-bed assembly. So are they wanting us to put the heated bed assembly in first then? I'm not too sure. Tell you what I'm going to do, I'm going to put the LCD in first though, just to get that one in there and out the way. So this comes with some little brackets and washers that are already assembled on there for you, so we'll take those off. These are little insulating washers on the rear. These are red ones, so don't get mixed up, otherwise you'll short stuff out on the board, and that will not make your day, I'm afraid. That one. Right. Okay, so this needs to go through that way. Does that fit through there? Nope. That's fine. So let's see how much of an alignment mess they've made with this one. So far, quite a bit. That does not line up at all. Let's go. Oh, of course, I'm putting it through the wrong way anyway. I'm an idiot. Now it lines up. Ignore my stupidity there. So, yeah, this knob is rubbish as well. I mean, it's not got the right indents to allow it to fit properly. So it's just kind of all over the place and doesn't even fit all the way through to the fit flush there. So that's not very good at all, is it, that one? Right, let's get these little brackets in. Yeah, every single thing about this is so, I don't know, it's just nothing's been thought out properly at all. I think this is obviously what you're going to get with a Chinese clone of a Peugeot i3, but geez, it's pretty poor. Okay, let's get that one on. Of course, one other thing of note will be the fact that they don't supply you with any kind of spanner for doing up the nuts on these. It's pretty much just figure it out yourself. I've forgotten the wooden plate, haven't I? So yeah, they do give you some tools, but not quite enough tools to actually properly do the job. So really with this, they should have had this the other way, shouldn't they? So you have two of those that side, because they've got the curved profile in it, that would look a bit neater. But no. And that one's only just barely long enough, if at all actually. Yeah, right, that one you definitely don't want to do up too tight because it's pulling in on the board. Obviously if you put your own in, you can obviously extend the size of them if you want to. I'm not going to bother. I want this to look uniform on the front, so I'm just going to go for these as they are. Just do them up a little bit, but just don't want to bend the board too much in case we get any issues with anything cracking on that. I think the good thing about these printers though is that there's so many mods that have already been done by people that just really allows you to print off something that's going to cover that up, or you know, people have done lots of different tell you what, it does warp the board quite a bit. Shouldn't that be sitting flush in? What's stopping that? It's going to be something stopping that sitting directly all the way in, isn't it? Solder joints for the back. So there's another issue. See, look, the solder joints on the back don't allow the board to sit flush, so it can sit flush to a certain extent this side, but then you end up with that curve in it. I'm not too worried about that at the minute, but it obviously is going to put a bit of stress on it, so that's something I might have to modify at some point. So I'm just going to clear up some of this mess, and then we'll see where we get to on the next step. Okay, a side note, I've actually just realised I was sitting there looking at these little spacers thinking, wouldn't it be better if I could pull the board back? Then it kind of made sense. Obviously these wooden bits don't go on the front, they need to go on the back side of the board, and that one needs adjusting because it's not quite flat with the surface. So yeah, you actually put these wooden bits on the back, that pulls the board back and that leaves it nice and flush. Much better. Okay, so the next step is to get the printed bed assembly in. So this sort of hooks over and then pushes in at the back here. Then you've got your what are these, the 30mm ones? Yeah, the 30mm, no, 16mm ones to go through here, similar to how we constructed the frame. And then there's some little wooden bits which hook over the back of these rods, and then they fit in on the back there just to add some extra support at that part there. So let's get that assembled. Okay, so it is another day, but you're obviously watching this as one video. So a few things I've done since then. I've put the top mounts on here. A bit wobbly. I did adjust the fan. I was there thinking, would the little spacers that were included that I thought were for the main PCB be of any use? And then I suddenly realised that actually that is how the fan's supposed to be. So you're supposed to put it on spacers. Yeah, just check the pictures and the instructions a bit clearer. So yeah, that's just a space fan out just to get it a bit closer to the main board there. I've attached the wires for the LCD screen. There's two wires, one is for the LCD and the other one is for the SD card. I've also connected the power for the heated bed. I can't get that to heat up yet. Not quite sure if it's just because I haven't got everything else connected, I don't know yet. And just the wires for the limit switch and the motor on the bed itself. And yeah, just the power wires coming across to the main board. So there's not too much that I've done extra to it. One thing of interest, you will probably remember, I had the broken glass plate, and yeah, so I placed that order with the well, I sent a message to the seller and said about getting a replacement, and I also ordered another one. The other one has turned up today. I only ordered it last night. It's bizarre, but it's one of those weird things because it was ordered on eBay. I got it sent for delivery, but for collection at Morrison's near me, just because that would be easier, and also I didn't want them posting it through in case it shattered by doing that. So I thought, right, okay, I'll get it ordered, and then hopefully it'll be arrived by about Wednesday. Today. Got a message today from eBay to say your order's ready for collection, and it was sent by Amazon. So yeah, I don't know what the whole deal is now with you order something on eBay. It's the second time I think I've had it now. You order something on eBay and then it comes via Amazon. So thumbs up though. thumbs up, I got the plate, that's brilliant. So that's a good start. So the next stages we've got is going to be this main carriage. It's got to go here. Well, I have already just threaded the rods in, that's all I've done. We got the 2 bars here as well, which need to go in. But the first thing I think we need to do with that is to mount the motors at the bottom. I'll double check on here, but I think that's the right order. Mount the motors at the bottom, and then we can get this assembly fixed in with the top brackets. Although I might have taken the top brackets off thinking about it. Hopefully not. Anyway, we'll get started on that, and yeah, we're not far away from hopefully getting the thing completed and to a stage where we can actually power it up and try and get it to like auto home and that sort of thing. Okay, so I'm just having a look at this. I'm not quite sure if I have. I think maybe they were supposed to be put on afterwards. I seem to be missing a step in the instructions. But we've got our motors here, which can go over side. So just wondering. Just push that in there. Oops. Try and get it just held in place anyway for the minute, so I can hopefully figure out what's going on. That's lined up. Why is that not going in fully? Is something stopping it? I don't think so. No, because that's the cable feed there. It should be okay. Oh, hang about. No, because that can't be right. Right, so if that goes in there, then we got the bottom one that needs to feed. Oh, it does go through that hole. Right, excuse the stupidity here. I'm sure I had this in yesterday. Right, that's it. Okay, so we just place that one in there for the minute. I just want to figure out if we can attach this assembly. No, it's going to need, I think those top mounts have got to come back off again, so that was certainly a bad idea to attach them anyway. Right, let's have a look. Find the right Allen key bit now. Okay, so I'll just take that one off, and the same for the other side. I think I have to take the nuts out of the little captive thing as well, because they don't really stay in very well and they end up disappearing somewhere. I've got plenty of them, but I don't want to. Oh, they're held in. Oh, actually they're alright. I'll probably just leave them in. Okay, so by the looks of it, I'm guessing we need to mount the motors at the bottom first, then add this assembly to it afterwards. So we will go ahead and get those fixed in. Let me just move this out of the way. And see where we're at. So we've got one fixing that side. Is that one fixed that side as well? Yeah, that one fixed. So we've got 3 fixing points for that motor. So I'll go ahead, I'll get that one connected and that one mounted that side as well, and then we'll come back and see where we're at. Okay, I've got those 2 motors mounted now. They are very fiddly to do, especially with having the heated bed and that already attached to it. I'm not quite sure, maybe you're supposed to put them on an earlier stage. Right, so let's have a look at what it says. So, align holes, dead top mounts with A1, A2 assemblies with A1, A3 assemblies. Fix them with screws. Yeah, I've already done that. And then took it back out again, so I don't know. Let's see, we know that So the carriage must be that way round, I think. Is that correct? That picks that one. Yeah, it must be correct, surely I would have thought. Maybe that should actually go that. I don't think it would go that way. Doesn't really state, but that would. It would have to go that way for the wire to reach, I would have thought. So we know we've got the metal rods which go in there somehow, and in with the bearing assembly which we've got on here. So trying to work this out. It doesn't really explain very well. Yeah, it shows it going through. Adjust distance between left and right side of the P assembly moved. Screw locking ring to the joint of guide rod. So is the locking ring supposed to go underneath? No, it wouldn't be able to fit underneath, would it? So it must go there somewhere. I don't quite know. Not quite sure what they're getting at there. Right, bear with me and I will see if I can figure this out. Right, I've been having a closer look at this. It looks like when I put the rods in, they were the wrong way round. Looking at this picture, you can kind of see the shaft of the motor in that picture. So I'm guessing it should face that way round, which would make sense. So obviously these rods need to be put in the other direction. And then hopefully that is about right. I'm still a bit confused about these little locking rings that you've got to attach, because it doesn't seem to show you where they're supposed to go or anything. It just sort of tells you about attaching them, but I'm sure it's probably going to be pretty obvious once I've figured out how to get this thing actually mounted on. And I'm not too sure now if I need to take those top bits off or not. Anyway, we will see how we get on. Right, just getting these threaded through now. Yeah, I can't see how you would. Yeah, you wouldn't, unless you're going to thread these through from the other side. You would need those top mounts off, wouldn't you? Because these have got to go on to here and then poke through the top somewhere. So I think taking the top mount off was probably a wise idea. But at the same time, it seemed like a good idea in the first place to just stick it on and have it as a little job out of the way. So if that's down to there, I'm guessing these have got to line up and push right down here. Which, to be honest with you, doesn't look like an easy job. It's not kind of heat shrink, it's like heat shrink, but very, very stiff. Right, I'm going to get that put on there and possibly get the top mounts on, and then I'll come back to you and let you know how I'm getting on. Right, I've got that in. I've pushed these with the these kind of couplings, which are just basically like heat shrink, but it's not heat shrink. So the rods are right up against the motors themselves. What I'm not too sure is how does it calibrate this? Do we have to kind of calibrate that to a set, I suppose, right up to the top so that they're even first? Otherwise I can see that being on a slight slant there. I figured out with these rods what it is these little couplings that they give you here. So you want one at the top, which I've got stuck there, one at the top of the rod, and then one at the bottom, and then obviously you feed the rod through, get it sort of level, and then just put those two clamps up and just tighten the screws on them, and then that should hold that firmly in place with a bit of luck anyway. So yeah, I'll just do that side, get those locked in, and then I think it's pretty much just a case of getting the hot end on it, which has a few different brackets for that. I think they're for that, so get that on, and yeah,
yeah, hopefully that's more or less it, apart from just obviously wiring up all the connectors and stuff like that.
Okay, so I've got those now mounted correctly. I've attached the little locking bits there, top and bottom. I've just kind of eyeballed this to see if it's roughly level. I don't quite know how that's supposed to calibrate itself, but hopefully that will be revealed in time. I have also connected the various cables up. This is all a massive mess at the minute. This will certainly need to be sorted out, neatened up once we know things are working. But don't pay too much attention to this wiring diagram, because you've got the two motors either side there, but you haven't actually got mentions where you put one in, but doesn't mention where you put the other. So yeah, looking at the board, 16 here, you see 16 says cooling fan for power supply source. Well, there is no cooling fan for that. So I think it's the only way where it would fit, really, because that's an empty driver there. So I've plugged the main one into where is it, 11 I think, and then 12, and then that one into there, then the extruder goes into 11. So yeah, it's very vague on the instructions there as to what goes to what place. So I think the next part is just getting the extruder connected, and hopefully we'll be at a point of being able to power this thing up. So motherboard, first unscrew cooling fan on nozzle, dismantle nozzle to L1, 2 and 3 as 3 parts, install L1 part to movable plate, P assembly. Please note as yet, screw go through L1 first, then through the movable part of P assembly. Then install the nozzle and fan in reverse steps. Connect the motor to the nozzle port. Connect the motor of the nozzle to port 10 on the motherboard. Well, that's not right, because port 10 doesn't have a ESC controller on it, so that's certainly not going to be right. Connect cooling fan to port 14. Yeah, I tend to ignore what they say on here and just go by what they say on there. So it looks like we've got to dismantle this, which I've already done, which is a bit annoying, because I had dismantled this because yes, it was actually a bit loose. But yeah, because we've got to get this plate here off, not quite sure we need to dismantle, because you can unscrew that. So we've got this plate here off, get that bolted on. How does it go? That way, and then reattach that plate, I think. So that shouldn't be so bad as what they're saying anyway. Bit of luck. Okay, so I'm just mounting this back plate. So this comes off nice and easily. You don't need to remove all the fan assembly. I don't quite know why they said that. It is worth doing though, just because I found this block was a bit loose, and that could obviously affect it. This just simply unscrews from the thread it's on there. So I think with this there is a bit of wobble in it, so it's just kind of been a case of eyeballing it to get it roughly as level as possible. There's two sets of holes as well to choose from. I don't see the point in using the top, because that's just going to lower your total build height. So I'm using the bottom ones to raise it up a little bit, and just trying to get this about right. I'm not exactly sure how critical it is to have this dead level. It will probably is, I would have thought, to get a satisfactory print. So no doubt this will probably be adjusted at a later date. So we'll just tighten those up. Don't want to over tighten them, because they're only the nuts are only captively held in plastic behind. So I think that's about right. Okay, that shouldn't have powered up, probably because I got it connected. Yeah. You want to be careful with moving things like that forward and backwards when you've got all the wires hooked up to the board, because it can backfeed power into it and cause no end of issues if you're not careful. So we want this to feed through, I'm guessing that way, isn't it? Yeah, that makes sense, I would have thought. How does it look on the picture? So looking at the picture, yeah, fan is at the other end, that's at this end. Certainly going to be a lot of cable management required to sort all this out. But so that needs to go in there. So what you've got is when you unscrew it, you just got these little 8mm machine screws, and they just pop up the underside under there, and then we'll connect up to that metal base. So like I said, there's no need to follow their instructions of removing the fan, only just good idea to do that, just check the tightness of everything before you assemble it and then find that you've got issues. Although I'm certainly expecting some issues with a kit like this, and just purely the fact that because it's so sort of home built like this, there's going to be stability issues and things like that to address. Now it's just a case of trying to tweak the alignment. Get this one in. Just think is about there, is it? Oh, yeah. It's always a fiddly thing, especially when you're doing it. Or you can put the printer upside down if need be. I'll tell you what, try and get this rear one in first, because that's a slightly more awkward one. The good news about the lighting edition, I have actually got the tubes and that I wanted now to sort out the lights, so that will certainly be something I'll be updating in due course. Because at the minute I've got one bad light, unless I disconnect that one, which I've kind of hardwired everything, so I can't really just cut through the wires. I can only have the two 10-watt spots on, the other one doesn't like it. Now, don't imagine position of this matters too much, just as long as it's about right. Again, don't over tighten these, they're very, that aluminium is definitely not, so that one tightens up alright, but that one is definitely loose. I did notice that when I took it off, so I'm wondering if that's been messed around with in the past. Somebody stripped the thread out of that, so that's a shame, but that can certainly be repaired at a later date. Right, so that's in, so now the nozzle needs to go back on again, which should be a simple case of threading it back on. At least these are nice and easy to remove, because there's bound to be issues where you're going to get clogging and stuff like that, so I'll certainly get that back on there. I don't know how tight it needs to be really. Do it reasonably tight like that. So now it should just be a case of getting these connected up and then powering the thing up and seeing what it does. Okay, so that's everything plugged in as it should be, as far as I'm aware, following these very vague instructions. Again, the wiring I'm really not bothered about. All of this I will get neatly sorted out, along with the bird's nest we've got there. So the next thing to do, I think, will just be a straight power up of this. I don't think there's anything else I need to attach. I've got all that connected there. Yep, I think everything that needs to be connected, I believe, is connected. So we'll get the power cable and plug it in and see if we get any action at all. And certainly see if we can auto home. Now, let's see the best place to. I'm going to give you quite a long enough power cable. As I stated earlier in the video, there is that issue with the switch, so I'm going to actually wire in my own switch at some point. So that says i3 Pro be ready. Okay, so let's have a look at the menu system here. So we'll go down to repair, I think it is, auto home. Let's see. If that auto homes correctly. Nothing's in the way of the
switch there. It's certainly a slow auto home process. So we'll try that, and we just want to make sure that the bed heats up, etc. I was going to put the sheet of glass on there actually. I just didn't want the right, sorry. Yeah, I didn't want the extruder nozzle to hit the bed or anything and damage that heated part. So while we're being very patient, waiting for that to finally make its way down to the bottom. Right, so we'll just attach that. They could give you coordinated colours, couldn't they? We've got 2 blue and then just a random selection of colours for the rear. Pink and a kind of turquoisey type colour. Oh, that's not good, is it? Whoa, 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 whoa. Right, that has hit the bed and its way down. Let's try and get that off without it damaging. Hopefully the springs have absorbed the shock there. Now the question is, why? Is there something we're missing here? Because we have got this, we've got this little bolt on this side. This must be an adjustment bolt for that. That's where we've gone wrong. Right, so let's try and get this back off. A bit worried then for a minute we're going to end up cracking the glass there, so I presume what we need to do is get this level roughly level with the bed. So if we say that's a stop point, then that's not hitting it anyway, and then adjust this one to hit that stop there. So yeah, that's certainly where I've gone wrong there. Right, that will hit that there, it's fine. Get this one up. It's all part of the learning experience. Just lock that in place. So that should, yeah, so that's the stop point of that one now. Not quite sure where the best position for these clips are. If there should be more in the middle. Just to clear the nozzle there. You have got this other issue where the nozzle is actually at this home position is off the end of the bed, and that is no good. As far as I understand, it's a case of mounting this stopper switch at the back further forward. I think there's something you can print to actually enable that option, because yeah, that's otherwise you're going to end up with it just dribbling off the end of the bed every time it gets to that edge. Right. Okay, I'll just stick those clips there for the minute, and we'll power it back up again. Hopefully this will go better this time. Right, so I'll bring you in on this so you can see hopefully what's happening a bit more. Sorry, you probably can't see what's on the display, so prepare auto home.
Okay, so is that the fact? Oh, I see. So the fact that everything is now at the point, so really I need to raise this one up a bit, don't I? Because this is the one that didn't work. Last time. So we just bring that off the stopper, bring that one off the stopper slightly, and that one off the stopper. Let's try again. So prepare, auto home. Perfect. So preheat PLA is what we want, isn't it? So preheat PLA 1 or preheat PLA bed. Try that one. This is 20 out of 70, so 21 out of 70. So making sure that heats up. (23, 24). Yeah, so that seems to be heating up fine. Is there a way of preheating the nozzle? I would have thought the extruder nozzle. So you've got preheat PLA 1. Try that. (24, 25). So that looks like that is now preheating the nozzle and the bed. So that seems to all be working. So that's a good start. So the next step really will be a case of sorting out the calibration. There's obviously going to be various issues with that, especially just these. I'm just worried about the alignment on that. And other calibration stuff. So I think there's like calibration cubes, etc., that you can print. So in the next video, hopefully I'll have the wiring sorted out in a much neater arrangement, tidied up. I'll get it on the desk with the computer, and then we will I'll get the software installed and try and load a calibration file and see if we can actually get something to print. See you on the next one. Cheers guys.